thanks for joining us on the newspaper review segment on AM Cafe, where we take a review of top stories making the national dailies. My name is Folashade Ogrundi, and I have with me in the studio a seasoned journalist, Mr. Muka Popola. How are you doing, sir?
Yeah, I'm fine.
Okay.
Shade, it's nice to be with you this morning again.
Yes, and I have to say happy inauguration day yesterday.
Well, it's okay, so. Same story. Same story.
All right.
We hope for the best anyway.
So let's go ahead with the Guardian newspaper. And the Guardian is reporting that Knox, as Buhari fails to make inauguration speech with the rider, a missed opportunity to reassure Nigerians. Atiku, Jonathan, Obi, others absent. Oshimole breaches protocol. Abuja residents growing under security lockdown and gridlocks. That story is on page 6 of the Guardian newspaper. Another story here says Obasanjo, 392 others in Ethiopian Airlines near Nisap. With the rider, it's a case of bad weather, says carrier. That story is continued on page 6 of the Guardian newspaper. Another story here says just above the masthead, power failure, price fluctuations, conflict still, emerging sector. The story is on page 40 of the Guardian newspaper. A story here says the president lead the charge, and that's the editorial by the Guardian, and you can find that editorial on page 18 of the Guardian newspaper. Sir, Mr. Muka, there's this story here, the Guardian is reporting this morning that Knox, as Buhari fails to make inauguration speech. What are your thoughts on this? Because one would, it has always been said that President Buhari really doesn't communicate with the people he governs, and now this is a clear opportunity for him to, reassure the Nigerians, talk about the security issues and other things we expect from him. So, what are your thoughts on this?
Well, I think a lot of people feel concerned because it has been our tradition, that when a new government is coming in like that, whether you have been there and you are taking another oath, you talk to us about your projections, for the next tenure. But that was not the case with Mr. President yesterday. He did not bother, himself concerning that. The president may have thought, well, I didn't love the office. I just came for this ceremony. I've been there, and I don't think there's any new thing that I want to. And in any case, even in the course of the president's campaign, I don't think that he gave any new assurances other than what he said in the 2014-2015 election. And he probably thought that, reading another speech, yesterday will amount to repeating himself all over. But that's not the issue. The issue is that Nigerians, want to feel assured and reassured, of all the challenges that they've been facing, challenges of insecurity, challenges of hunger, challenges of a poor economy, challenges of power. All these areas that have been giving people a lot of pain, they expected the president to have. And maybe his handlers thought, well, he has done a bit, during his first tenure. It's just a continuum of his administration, and then he is not likely to say anything new. But just as Atiku said, given the fact that his election is being challenged, I think it would have been a wonderful opportunity for him to reach out to Nigerians again. They were expecting some 2-3 days ago, he did a media chat, where he talked about what he had done and what he's probably going to do. But not many Nigerians watched the media chat. A lot of people will have focused on yesterday's program, and I think it was a minus that Mr. President did not bother. It will, just like people feel that he doesn't communicate, and sometimes when he communicates strongly. I think that was another peculiar situation.
All right, thank you, Mr. Muka. Yeah. Let's move straight now to the Vanguard newspaper. The Vanguard is reporting this morning, inauguration as the kicker, Buhari mom as governors reel out promises. The riders are, Oyo can't pay 30,000 naira minimum wage now, says Makinde. Abiodun vows to tackle unemployment in Ogun State. I'll fulfill campaign promises, says Sanwo-Olu. El-Rufai extends maternity leave to 6 months in Kaduna. I'll build a stronger Delta, Okor says. The story is on page 5 of the Vanguard newspaper. And there's a picture here of President Buhari taking in his oaths in office. And there's also a picture here of Sanwo-Olu in Lagos also doing his swearing in yesterday, and also of Abiodun of Ogun State, Makinde also of Oyo State. And just beside the story, come to Buhari governors, don't disappoint masses. That story is on page 8 of the Vanguard newspaper. Emir Sanusi absent as Ganduje's sworn in for second term. The story is on page 8 of the Vanguard newspaper. About the masthead, the story says bank CEOs condemn smear campaign by bad debtors. That story is on page 10 of the Vanguard newspaper. Obasanjo, Abubakar, Jonathan absent as Buhari, Osinbajo take oath of office for second term. And that story is on page 9 of the Vanguard newspaper. The story here says Obasanjo, 393 others escape plane mishap. The story is on page 9 of the Vanguard. Oshodi Apapa gridlock, truck drivers adamant maintain grip on road. That story is on page 10 of the Vanguard newspaper. A story here says security dealers unfold survival strategies for capital markets. You might want to check out that story. It's on page 19 page 19 of the Vanguard newspaper. Now, governors were sworn in yesterday and reeled out their promises. Now, it's quite interesting that Seyi Makinde, the newly elected governor of Oyo State, says that Oyo can't pay 30,000 naira minimum wage. And when I read the report yesterday, he also said that Oyo could even pay more than that. But as at now, the state cannot afford the 30,000 naira minimum wage. And we got reports last week that the president said all governors must pay the minimum wage.
Well, in fairness to Makinde, even before taking over as governor, had been saying at the background, since his election, that the issue will have to be thoroughly discussed when he takes over. So, and what he has been saying is not different from what he expressed, and you cannot really say that, well, he doesn't know what he's talking about. Although he has not seen the finances of the state, but he probably belongs to the school of thought that says the federal government, in its negotiation with its own staff, should also allow the states as well as local government to negotiate with their staff, depending on the resources available. You don't just do a blanket salary scale and say that is what everybody must pay.
But before the bill was passed, it must have been
governors were involved. And if you look at it, it's like they were pushing it back and forth. It took almost 2 years to negotiate it, since 2016 to 2018.
I think from the 18,000 naira minimum wage, moving up to 30,000.
They started with maybe 56,000 to 50,000, and then again they now ended at 30,000. So the governors were always apprehensive, of this new salary thing, that if you increase the salary, 18,000, most of the states have not been able to pay. And now you don't even consider where we are going to generate this money from. You are pushing it. For the workers, they don't care. They want better life. They can see governors enjoying good life. They can see their aides enjoying good life, and they are the ones keeping the books. At the government, they are the ones keeping the books at the ministries. They know how much is coming in. They know how much is going out. They know the ones that are going into inanities, frivolities, political whatever. They know how money are being wasted. So for that reason, they may be justified to be asking for more. So it is now up to the governors to scale down they are extravagant and maybe unnecessary expenditure.
Exactly.
So scale it down. Sometimes even the amount of money paid to politicians, in office, the amount paid to your aides, the number of aides, the number of vehicles that you maintain,
special advisors,
all this retinue of staff, scale them down. By the time you scale them down, then you will be able to know at least where you are going to get the buffer for this salary increase. So, but Makinde has been very, very honest. He has been forthright since the beginning of since his election.
Okay. That
please, in the case of Oyo State, when I take over, we are going to, and what I'm going to say is that I think I will want to believe that it will not start on the wrong footing. You should engage the staff, the workers constructively. You should not take it too hard on them. Engage them constructively. Open the books. They are reasonable people. If they feel that okay, as at now our state cannot afford 30, they may also shift ground, to support, because usually Nigerians support new administration until you begin to disappoint them.
Exactly. Thank you very much, Mr. Muki, for that detailed analysis. Now let's move straight to the Punch newspaper. And the Punch is reporting that federal government social safety program gobs 471 billion naira in 3 years. That story is on page 27. You might want to check that out. We also have pictures of the inauguration, the swearing in of President Muhammadu Buhari for a second term in office, as well as Professor Yemi Osinbajo, his vice. A story here says Buhari's inauguration, PDP orders knock president for keeping mum, Obasanjo Jonathan absent. The story is on page 2 of the Punch newspaper. Unizik scandal, Senate members have messed up, says Pro-Chancellor. The story is on pages 4 and 5. Another story here says Lagos businessman's decomposing corpse found inside Magodo residence. The story is also on pages 4 and 5. Plane conveying Obasanjo, others experiences bad weather, lands at second attempt. The story is on page 41 of the Punch newspaper. Above the masthead, Makinde says Oyo can't pay 30,000 naira minimum wage, scraps tuition. The story is on page 3 of the Punch newspaper. Federal government liable for rising insecurity, Afenifere Emir Ohaneze tells Buhari. That story is on page 2 of the Punch. Chelsea thumb Arsenal 4-2-1 to win Europa League. If you're a sports fan, check out that story on page 47 of the Punch. There's a story here that says NYSC to include date of birth on certificates. That story is on page 12. You might want to know why NYSC has taken this decision. Just go straight to page 12 of the Punch newspaper. This is quite interesting. NYSC, date of birth, and we know the usual thing in Nigeria that most Nigerians like to change their age. So what are your thoughts on this?
No, I think
is it a good decision by NYSC?
It's good. It's going to help even those who
for transparency,
who run into trouble over mere issues of date of birth. You find that some people are, at the prime, at the peak of their career, people now bring issue of just minute issues like date of birth, and say that okay, his date of birth was falsified, and they are not talking about his academic qualification, they are not talking about his length of service, they are not talking about other valuable qualities. They will be talking about the age of birth, and usually the people they talk about their age of birth, they are not underaged. So, but if that is going to be an issue, and your certificate carries your date of birth, nobody is going to contest it, and even you are not going to now start thinking of manipulating the age for you to fit into a system. You will know that this is exactly what I can do with my age, and that will be okay. So you won't run into trouble much later in your, at the height of your career.
Correct. Thank you. Let's move to the Nigerian Tribune. And the top story here says, history beckons as Makinde, Abiodun, Sanwo-Olu, 26 others take oath of office. The story is on page 10 of the Nigerian Tribune. Also pictures here, just like all the papers, of the inauguration and swearing-in ceremony that happened yesterday. I have a story here that says Obasanjo, 393 others aboard Ethiopia airline escape air incident, and the story is on page 35 of the Nigerian Tribune. Makinde sacks local government LCDA bosses, dissolves boards, parastatal agencies, abolishes 3,000 naira levy in schools. The story is on page 6 of the Nigerian Tribune. A story above the masthead says Buhari takes second term oath of office without speech presentation. He is overburdening by guilt, says the PDP. That story is continued on page 4 of the Nigerian Tribune. Okay, other stories here. Federal government approves another 22.6 billion naira for Nigeria Airways pensioners. That's quite interesting, and the story is on page 8 of the Nigerian Tribune. No genuine democracy in Nigeria, says Falana. That story is on page 4 of the Nigerian Tribune. And finally, police reunite a stolen child with parents after 7 years. The story is on page 32 of the Nigerian Tribune. And, just briefly, in less than 20 seconds, because we're about to go off now, what are your thoughts on Falana saying there are no genuine democracy in Nigeria?
Well, when you look at the issues surrounding our elections, and you look at the issues of internal democracy within the parties, you look at the conduct of election by INEC, you look at the conduct of politicians, obviously you will want to agree with Falana. I think for now we don't have, just as he's saying that we don't have genuine democracy, I think the root cause is that we don't even have what could be called ideological politics and democracy. So for that reason, we still need to re-engineer our political system such that we can stabilize our democracy, and then we begin to deepen it. All
right, thanks Mr. Moka Kukwala for being a guest analyst on the show today.
Thank you for Shade. It's nice to be with you.
Yeah, thank you very much. And that's all we can take on today's episode of Newspaper Review. Do join us again tomorrow. And over now to Ibadan for the rest of AM Cafe. I am Fola Shade Ogurinde saying good morning.